What are the cycles fathers pass down that sons are left to heal? What if being a man wasn't about holding it all together, but learning how to let go? This is a space where men speak truth and find the power to heal and transform. I'm Mike Della Rocha. Welcome to Sacred Lessons. Stories are medicine. They remind us who we are, where we come from, and where we're going. Welcome to Sacred Lessons. I'm Mike Della Rocha. Today's guest is someone I deeply admire, a truth teller whose words, humor, and heart have given voice to the streets of Los Angeles. Memo Torres is the director of engagement and a multimedia journalist at LA Taco, a James Beard award-winning platform that documents the real Los Angeles, the one built by workers, dreamers, and families. But beyond the bylines and cameras, Memo is a storyteller of the people, a bridge between communities, culture, and truth. I've long been inspired by his journalism and his courage to speak up for those who can't. And at this moment, his work feels more urgent, more needed, more sacred than ever. Thank you.
Thank you for that intro. Made me feel inspired for myself.
I mean, I was thinking this morning on the way over here, because we just recently met, and I was thinking about, I've always had the greatest admiration and respect for journalists, historically, and the folks that have transformed my life, from the Hunter S. Thompsons and the Ruben Salazars. You're a part of this lineage of folks that know the sacrifice it takes to speak authentically words that people are afraid to say. And in this past year, more than ever, with the ICE raids, LA being ground zero, our gente being like terrorized and kidnapped. When it first went down, I was grasping for air. I was trying to figure out, I know things happen in cycles. I know we've been here, but I need to feel hope at a time when I was feeling hopeless, because it was a time where the entire state apparatus was targeting us. And in that moment, as an organizer, I was still like, I could go to the bottle like I usually do, but I need to do something healthier. And honestly, Memo, when I was thinking those thoughts, that's when I ran into the Daily Memo. And that became a lifeline, not just for me, but so many of us, because you were giving us hope that, hey, I'm going to tell you what's up, but also here's the organizations that are helping. Here's ways that you could make a difference. Let me put a context so you don't feel like, damn, we're going to die. No, we have survived as a people, and we will survive. And so before we even get into everything, I just want to thank you for your bravery. It's not easy. And I know when you speak truth, I know there's forces that we never see that are trying to take you and LA Taco out. I know that. I've been raised in it. And so as a father, as a husband, as a son, the grandson of a farm worker, thank you for your work and your words.
I'd say you're welcome. That's the appropriate thing to say, but thank you for the appreciation, man. It's always shocking to hear the reactions like yours, and I get that a lot. And I don't know how to react to that, to be honest with you. But yeah, man, I'm just here to do the work. That's what I tell people. Just here to do the work. So I'm always surprised to hear how people interpret that and receive that on the other end, because I just put it out there. I don't know how people take it.
Well, you know, from the reaction, and even when you came in, some of the folks here on the team were like, "Hey, man, I watch your TikTok videos," but I want folks that don't know who Memo Torres is to know, because you have such an incredible story being a landscaper and a business owner, selling your company to dedicate your life to this in this political moment, the spiritual moment in time. So can you just share your upbringing and how did you get to journalism?
Yeah, it's funny, man. So I did grow up in Los Angeles. I grew up in Inglewood, Culver City. Did a stint in Canyon Country. Experienced a lot of racism growing up, and especially as a son of gardeners. And my grandparents were both gardeners. My dad, became a landscaper. I worked with my dad growing up doing landscaping. So it was always like this thing where like I'm working side by side with jardineros, with raza, undocumented folks. And at the same time, going to good schools. I went to like Loyola High School because my mom was always about education. Like, so she always pushed the education on me. So she made sure I went to like a good high school, which got me to Berkeley. And I got a good education in Berkeley. When I was there like I was I was the first class to go in there without affirmative action. It was post Prop 209 era. That's when they removed affirmative action, and you saw the numbers of minorities in colleges just plummet.
Right.
And so I was there like out of like a class of, I don't remember, like 30,000 people. I was one of like 600 Latinos. So those numbers might be wrong. My memory's a little fuzzy, but it's something like that in that range. And so I got involved with certain organizations called like Raza Recruitment and Retention, and then the Multicultural Center, Bridges, and became CEO, operations directors, and executive director, and was just kind of helping organize students at Berkeley to go to high schools all over California, working with funding from the state and students on campus and the university. So we could fund these recruitment efforts to try to get people, raza and minorities, whether it be Black, Latino, Asian Pacific Islander, Filipino, to just encourage these kids to apply to college. Try to raise the numbers up. After that, got in out of college. I couldn't find a job. So I was just like, and then I had kids. I wanted to be a teacher. And starting salary back then was like $28,000. And I already had a kid. And I was like, yeah, it's not going to cut it. And then I had a lot of like family issues where like my mom had cancer. And so I kind of like ended up getting involved with like landscaping business again. So for a long time, like I had primos make fun of me. They're like, oh, there goes Memo with a lawnmower and his Berkeley degree, you know? But I was able to build a successful business out of that. Got some good clients, and then did that for about 15 years until LA Taco kind of rolled around, and I saw what they were trying to do. And a friend of mine, he got recruited from Vice Mexico to come and relaunch it as a publication, because back then it was a blog covering weed, graffiti, and cannabis. Graffiti, tacos, and cannabis. And I was like, yeah, I've had built businesses. I had another business that I had built and sold to, and so I was like, I kind of know what you guys are doing, so I can help out. I'm driving around all over LA. They needed help with like social media and pictures and connecting them with businesses that can offer and build a membership program that can offer free tacos for members. Like, I can do that. Like, yeah. So I started doing that, and then like eventually I wrote a letter. I'm like, hey, I'm down to help out more. That got me more involved, and from there I started doing more videos. Then Javier Cabral came in and he encouraged me to write. He's like, well, if you're already like covering these tacos, might as well write. So I started writing, and then from there we started expanding, and they started kind of guiding me journalistically. And so I kind of just honestly fell into it, and then I kind of saw the mission of it, and it started doing really well for me. So then from there I started having appearances on Netflix, and then I'm currently in your iPhones. I write for Apple Maps now. I helped them launch the Apple food guides. I have 150 places in there right now, places to eat around LA. So I was like, this is working out pretty well. My kids are now in college. I have 2 kids, great kids. They've always made my life easy, so God bless them. And now they're off in college, and I was getting tired of the landscape business, and got hurt by the recent strikes and the pandemic. So I decided, like, you know what, I can't keep doing both. So I decided to do LA Taco because for me I've always wanted to do something that was more impactful, and I felt like this was more serviceful for like the communities for LA. So I kind of loved what I was doing, and I'm just gonna go do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's funny because I was the last class on film redaction at UCLA. So when you talked about, I physically felt the change, because the year after is when it was eliminated, and it was similar. Like I could physically you could see less raza on campus.
Mm-hmm.
You felt it, and it was like, and that was the catalyst for me to also get involved. And that was my playground to learn about organizing 101. We were talking about pedagogy of the press earlier. And that has always informed how I see the world, that seeing what we could have and how it could be snatched just like that from policies.
Yeah.
And so, my question is right now, with all of these raids that came up and that are continuing to happen, going from food to that I want to say it's a natural extension, because we were talking about it while eating tacos, but how did that shift for you? Because there was a shift, like a foodie to now being a voice of like educating and informing us of our rights, but also, hey, how to protect yourself. How did that whole transition happen?
It was very instinctual. It wasn't like there was no thought to it. It just kind of like, I don't know, like, see, for a long time I had my Twitter when Twitter was good. Now, not X with Elon Musk, but for a long time I had the Twitter, and then I had my Instagram account. And I realized that the crowds can't handle both, right? People on Instagram, all they want to do is food content. They don't want me talking anything about local issues or politics. And then people on X, they loved my commentary on politics and all that stuff. So I would cover local politics and commentary on that on X, and then Instagram was just food. And I remember when this happened, I think all of us at the team, there was no meeting, there was nothing like it. It was just like, because we've been covering food for so long, we've had built these ties with like communities all over the place, and not just food, like businesses, organizations doing good work around LA, just trying to give voice to the people and connecting with those voices from around LA. So when the can I curse? When the shit went down, I started getting flooded with messages from people all over LA. Oh, ICE is over here. They're over there. Hey, do you know who I can contact? Hey, my dad got picked up. Do you know a lawyer? Like, what should I do? Like, how do I track somebody? Like, So I just got flooded with messages from people all over LA. So I was like, okay. And so I would tell the team, like, hey, guys, we need resources. We need a list of resources. Can you guys help put a list of resources together? Yeah, so like Hadley, super resourceful. He's one of our co-founders. He went out there and started putting a list of resources together for LA Taco. And then people are like, we want to volunteer. We want to help. What can we do? I'm like, all right, let's put a list of all the organizations we know. And then we put a list of organizations people can go volunteer and help out or donate to. And then, hey, what should we do if people get stopped? Okay, let me do a video on that. Like, hey, we want to start these rapid response networks. How should we do it? Okay, let me do a video on that. So it just ended up being like where people were asking me all these questions and feeding me information at the same time, and then offering their services. So I was just able to just do everything connected and put it back out there, and take things and connect and put it back out there. And I found myself just kind of in this position naturally, like without even thinking about it. Just ran with it.
Let me ask you one thing that I thought I would never see. I mean, this is a podcast about manhood, masculinity, and men's healing. And one of the things I've always been taught is, you don't cry as a stereotypical definition of a man.
Yeah.
And if you do, you definitely don't do it publicly.
Mm-hmm.
And the last 12 months since the raid started, first time I would see Latino men and grandfathers publicly crying and seeing it on Instagram. And it hit me in such a deep way, because I never thought I would never see that. But because of the terrorizing, it was almost acceptable. Like, men got a pass to cry publicly because we all were in the sense of like despair and pain. You could relate to the pain of seeing your loved one being snatched and taken away. And you've been covering this. And so I've been wanting to ask you, like, how that, like, covering that has impacted you.
Yeah, it's completely true. I mean, I grew up in a super machista, household. My family's from Zacatecas. So it's kind of like the Texas of, Mexico, cowboy country, with, literally cowboy country. it's never saw my dad cry, and my kids even to this day say they never see me cry, and it's kind of been and passed on to me, and like I can feel like sometimes the emotions swell up, but something in me just like bottles that up, and so I know it's not healthy, but I've been using it as like a superpower or a talent, so I can keep going through this. And
What's not healthy? The not crying.
the not crying and let the emotions out. As Latinos, like we don't have that kind of emotional maturity or emotional guidance from our parents because they didn't have it.
Right.
I remember I was going through my stuff recently. I moved, and I found a letter my mom wrote me in high school, and it said she said exactly that. She's like, I know we don't know how to handle our emotions and we're terrible at it, but yada yada yada. But she mentioned that line, and I was like, acknowledgement from her about that. And but yeah, like I don't know. I've had such a up and down life. I've gone through some really dark times in my life, and people ask me like, how do you deal with this? Like you asked, right? And for me, it's just I remind myself of like, you know what? It might be traumatic to witness all these videos, and I've seen thousands of videos. I think every video out there from Southern California I've seen. I have about 5 terabytes worth of videos stored. And I always remind myself, it's like, just viewing it and reporting on it is nothing compared to what they're going through. What those families are, experiencing. Having a loved one getting taken on Thanksgiving night, or during a birthday, getting grabbed outside while they're, throwing a birthday party for a girl. Or having your parents being ripped literally from in front of you as you're moving at a recycling center. Or while you're with like your dad and he's a street vendor, and you go to use the bathroom at the laundromat, and you come out and your dad's gone. Shit like that, it's like, all right, me reporting on this is nothing compared to that. And it's funny you mentioned like the men crying on these videos. It's like I remember like you kind of expect in this society like for a woman to cry or a kid to cry, so it's easier to observe and absorb that. But what really got to me was like when you saw men crying, like that's tough. Like men crying for their kids, for their wives, getting ripped away from like outside of a prenatal care, taking literally their wives running into the clinic with their newborn, and then getting tackled outside, and a mother having to see her father while she's holding the baby, getting dragged into a vehicle. You're just like, fuck, like, and then the man crying, or another man crying in another instance where he's like getting pulled, and he's like, please, I just came to get medication for my wife. She just got home from the hospital. We just had a baby. It's like that kind of shit really kind of fucks with you.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it's tough. You internalize it, but I just converted it into fuel to keep doing what I'm doing. People ask like, how do you keep doing this every single day? It's like, gotta fight it somehow, man.
Yeah.
My mental therapy is telling the truth and combating this for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As someone that wants you to stay around for decades longer because we're around the same age.
Yeah.
My own father, if he was sitting there and I was here and I asked the same question, he would have given me the exact response that you did. And because he wasn't taught the language of expression, and because my grandfather, never cried in front of him, never said "mijo te amo," never said any of that stuff, he died prematurely from the weight of unexpressed emotion. And I've gotten to a point, this is just for me personally, where like tonight I'm co-facilitating a men's circle for men who lost their homes in the Altadena fire. And, we just need safer spaces where men without shame or judgment can release. Because when we bottle it up, what I've seen is like the body breaks down. But then for me personally, when I wasn't, I'm a work in progress, so don't get me wrong. But when there's sometimes when the pain is too much for me, and then I do retreat to a bottle or an unhealthy, like thank God I don't smoke cigarettes, but like there's these things that we are taught to mask the pain. And so my invitation to you is to come to any of these men's circles I have, but to consider, because there's energy being exchanged. you're talking about having 5 terabytes of these situations, wherever they are in your office. That's energy that is being exchanged, and you're carrying a lot. And the fuel to keep going is the and also, you know. And so my follow-up was, how do you release if it's not through those tears? Are there friends or there's practices? Like, what do you do?
I've gone back into billiards. You know, I play a lot of pool. I love the game of pool, so I've been playing a lot of billiards. So on the weekends, I do that a lot. I play billiards and I drink with some friends, and then we do tournaments. I don't know. It's a hobby. It like helps me forget about everything. It's a very focused game, so it just kind of helps me clear my mind and work on that. And then, so a hobby and a lot of sleep. I sleep a lot during the weekends, and good meals. I eat good on the weekend, man. I go sit down, I'll pig the fuck out, and then go to home, and then just like I'll sleep like 18 hours. Just sleep and rest. Yeah, and then get back up and do it again, do the grind Monday morning.
Let me ask you from like these men, these stories you shared, you know, you're looking at them in their eyes through these videos. Do you see something besides the grief and the loss when you're looking in those eyes?
Something besides the grief and the loss? I mean, the terror, the trauma that they're going through. Yeah, I don't know what else I can see in that. Just nothing but trauma. Yeah.
But what keeps you, I guess my question is, given that, I asked this recently, like, where are you finding hope?
Oh, where do I find hope? Bro, I find hope in LA, in the people of LA, the real people, the responders out there, the community watch groups, the organizations, the lawyers, the few politicians that are actually working towards something and accomplishing policies and change and aid. Because a lot of politicians are just hopeless, but there's some actually really good politicians out there doing the work. But yeah, I find it in the community, man. And one of the reasons I can do what I can do is because I believe I've earned the trust of the community members who are very skeptical of anybody, and rightfully so, because they're all on watch lists. You know, they're being considered terrorists or doxers and whatever the hell from this administration. But yeah, man, I find hope in seeing how communities responds, comes out for themselves, just the way they did in like the fires. You know, community came out from deep in LA to go help the victims in Altadena and Pacific Palisades, all the taqueros, the day laborers that were going out there to clean up. That's where I find hope, man. And that's where it's like I try to always shine that in the videos, because people always feel helpless and like, what can I do? And I'm like, there's people doing the work. You can help them out. You can be one of them.
And do your children ask you why you do what you do? Or?
They don't ask me why I do what I do. They just kind of like, they just know that I just do whatever I do.
Have you talked to them about it?
Yeah, they're really proud of me. So, I don't really force them to do anything else. But they're good kids. I just want them to focus on finishing college. I talk with them like, do you know what to do if they pull you over? Because you know your brown ass is gonna get pulled over one day.
Right.
So I tell them about what their rights are, how to handle a situation. But no, they're really proud of me. So, like I said, my kids are wonderful. If they weren't wonderful, good kids, then I don't think I'd be able to be doing this right now.
Do you? Are there things that you do differently based upon your relation with your own father, with your own children?
Yeah. My father's relationship has evolved. It went from being like a really him trying to be like an exemplary man with high ideals and standards, to try to impress his own father, who was very like that, to now being a lot more relaxed and understanding, a lot more chill, and a lot more supportive, to like when we never hugged or said I love you, to now we say I love you. You know, we'll hug. We actually share an apartment right now. When he comes back from Mexico, he stays in my extra bedroom, and right now he's back in Mexico. And then with my kids, like, yeah, I definitely have a more open approach with my kids. You know, we talk about drugs and everything else, and school and social life, which is different than what my dad was. Like, we didn't talk about anything like that. So, very open relationship with my kids.
What was the moment or catalyst for you to start hugging and telling your dad that you loved him?
It was bottling up shit, and then just breaking down, and both of us did. Yeah, I remember there was a point where like we just both broke down and just finally like hashed it out and then said we loved you and then we hugged. But yeah, the bottling up of stuff that we both did, just it was too much and it broke the glass. Yeah,
And you remember that moment?
I remember specifically that moment.
And it was recent.
No, it was about 15 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, 10 or 15 years ago. So yeah, that's when he changed and I changed, and yeah, yeah, kudos to him, man. He's gone through a lot of trauma too himself, so he's figured out ways to like, you know, become a better man, and I appreciate that. Yeah.
So 15 years ago, is that were you telling your own children you loved them and hugging them before that transition, or was it after, or do you?
Yeah, with my children, I always had a different approach. I'd always hug him and tell him I love him. I made sure never to be like that. I still do present strength, though. You know, I still don't break down. But I don't know if that's so much because of I want to present strength for portraying strength's sake, or because I just don't know how to handle emotional weak moments. You know what I mean?
So, but you're defining strength as not showing the emotional weakness.
Exactly. Yeah.
And why? Just because everything around us?
No, it's because like we said at the beginning, man, that's how our parents raised us. They didn't know how to do it, so we don't know how to do it.
With your kids, though, you still feel you can't show that.
I can't show that with anybody. Yeah, not just with my kids. Like there's moments I like want to sit there and I'll be like, God, I want to cry. Like I want to cry, and I just don't know how to do it. I don't know how to let it out. I don't know how to release. You know?
Yeah.
And yeah, like I just don't know how to do it.
It seems like your relation with your dad, it was just boiled over. And seeing your journalism, it's the same thing when all those stories, shit just boiled over, and you're seeing your wife being taken away, or your kid not having a father, and it just boiled over, and that's when like you can't even hold it anymore, it just comes out.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out, I don't know the answers, Memo, but I'm trying to figure out ways where we don't have to bottle it out to find the safe places where you could rediscover or redefine strength in your own way.
Yeah.
And I might be doing it wrong too, because with my son, he's 12. He's like the opposite of what I was at 12. At 12, I was very like what you just described.
Yeah.
And he's like the opposite. And sometimes I have to battle myself like, bro, you know, my wife always checks me. Hey man, aren't you supposed to be emotionally expressive? Yes. But it's like, I'm reprogramming myself, you know, because he's so much more emotionally intelligent than I am at that age. It's a different generation, of course, but I'm like, dang, there's no doubt I know how he's feeling, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I can navigate and figure out how to deal with it, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, are your kids, are they the opposite with you? Are they more emotionally open and stuff like that?
I've never thought about it. I haven't thought about it really.
But you know why I'm asking this, right?
No.
I'm asking this because, well, this whole idea of like being able to show at least your children, because I don't want a blow up to happen with you and your kids like it happened with you and your dad.
Yeah.
And my assumption right now is your relationship with your dad right now, 15 years later, is so much more healthier and loving.
Yeah.
Right? And something that for me, I didn't have the opportunity to have that with my dad, you know?
I think, well, the difference between my dad was super like, you know, you got to dress like this, you got to be like this, you can't say that, you have to act this way. Very strict, very just super strict about it. So I was always kind of more rebellious, you know, and I grew up, he comes from a very strict cowboy mentality in Mexico, and I'm growing up in LA, you know, going around like, you know, being aware to more social political issues, so more rebellious. So there was a lot of tension between my dad and I, to the point where like we couldn't even talk for a few years because of that. With my kids, we don't have any of that tension.
Right.
Yeah, we've always had a great relationship. Yeah, there's no issues with me and my kids. So I think that's the big difference. So with my kids, there's never been a point where like, I mean, we've had anything emotional to talk about. Yeah, we're just always cool.
Yeah.
So
And let me ask you this. So if I'm a young journalist coming up and I look up to Memo Torres,
damn.
what would you tell that journalist in terms of not just covering the news, but handling the self, collective care?
I don't know, man. It's just, I think everybody's different. I think everybody handles different stress and trauma differently. I've had enough experiences in my life where I know how I handle trauma and how to do that personally. For a kid that's up and coming, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm the right person to give advice on that, dude. I'd be like, look, man, if you're gonna get into this, and right now I have some really young journalists that work with me. Shout out Aisha and Izzy. They came into the fold as this ICE stuff happened, and Aisha straight out of college. I think she's like 24, 25. She's a super young journalist, just thrown into this fucking hellhole immediately. And I tell her, like, hey, man, this shit is tough. It's traumatic. So if you ever feel like you need to take a break and, you know, talk to somebody, do it. Like don't expect to just do it and like I do it. But yeah, as far as giving advice, I'm just be like, look, I appreciate you admiring my work, but I handle things my way. You got to figure out how to handle things your way. That's all I can say.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny. I started the episode talking about like Hunter S. Thompson and Ruben Salazar and even Acosta is right here.
Yeah.
And I just keep getting these messages like that's exactly what they would say. You know, and again, there's
I lean the Hunter S. Thompson way.
I know you do.
I'm not gonna tell people to do the Hunter S. Thompson route.
Right. Well, let me ask this. So, in the midst of like, you know, even walking in here, your phone is blowing up because of all these ongoing
the raids
attacks.
going on. Yeah.
What is you know, because your journalism to me is kind of like a love letter to LA. That despite the trauma, there still is love.
Yeah.
And so what do you tell those of us who are directly impacted by what's happening?
What you're directly impacted? I guess, what does that really mean, directly impacted?
I guess we're all impacted.
Yeah.
Right. So just an LA resident then.
If you love the city, if you love your neighbors, and you love if you love the people around you, your family, find hope and humor around you, right? Don't let them take the joy away from you. You know, I know it's tough, and I know at times it can feel inappropriate to smile or have a laugh, but hope and humor is what gets us through things. So find hope in your neighbors and the people fighting the resistance, resisting ICE and all that stuff. Support that, because it's really going to come down to people. The politicians don't know what to do. They're trying, the few that are doing good are trying to do it by the book. Because if you do it the way the Trump administration is doing it, not by the book, like just violating constitutional rights and going against procedures and protocols and due process, throwing it all out the window, then you're really just going to destroy democracy. So you're stuck in this balance where politicians are trying to figure out how to maintain democracy and the rule of law against an administration that's throwing it all out the window. While they fight that fight, it's really going to come down to people. Right. So support your neighbors, support your family, Support the people around you in your city. By being out there, you give hope, and sharing some laughs and some smiles, you keep, joy alive.
Right.
Because that's what they're trying to take from us.
Yeah. Do you ever feel, this just came to me, do you ever feel like it's too much pressure for you?
Too much pressure for me?
Yeah, to do this.
Fuck yeah.
And do you ever just want to give like, hey, I'm good, I did my part?
Yeah, no, I mean, nobody's putting this pressure on me. Nobody's putting this pressure on me. Nobody asked me to do this. Nobody at LA Taco said you need to do this. If anything, everybody's like, man, we'll take a break. Take a break. And I think recently me and Izzy, shout out Izzy Ramirez, who I brought out of the streets to like help me do this work because I saw he was doing the same stuff. We took like a day or two off. Like, let's just fucking chill for like a day or two. And we regretted it because when we got back, we were like, fuck, so much to catch up on, dude. We were like, I think we worked like an 18-hour day. And like, towards the end, we're just drinking beers, trying to finish this day. I don't feel any pressure from anybody else. The only thing I have is anger at what's happening that fuels my motivation to keep doing that. So I'm a stubborn fool, right? I'm just a stubborn fool. This might not be the smartest thing to be doing, but I know it's the best thing I should be doing. Yeah.
And let me ask, because of, at least this regime, their worst nightmare is a stubborn brown man.
Yeah. Educated.
An educated, stubborn brown man, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of forces that be, and how can folks support you and LA Taco given what I just shared?
Honestly, it sounds like a fucking broken record and cliche, but like we could really use members. Really support LA Taco by, if you can give a donation, but really members so it can be sustainable. I do everything like, for the first 100 days, I did everything myself. The verifying, the compiling the videos, the saving them, the recording, the editing, the publishing, and putting it all out there. I was working 14-hour days every single day. Now I have 2 people helping me directly, and I have the team, the editorial team backing me up for other stuff. But even then, I'm still doing the editing, the compiling, a lot of the work myself. We could use more staff, more back-end staff to help take some of this pressure off of me so I don't have to be doing 12, 14-hour days every single day. I mean, that's really the toughest part. It's not even the trauma. It's just the grind of it. But, I grew up as a gardener, dude. Grind is nothing for me. But, yeah. That's it, man. We could really use support. LA Times has like 300,000 subscribers. New York Times has like 1 million subscribers. In a city of like 8 to 9 million people, we're fighting for 10,000 subscribers. We're at about 6,000. So if we can get to 10,000, that would change the world for us. Yeah.
So everyone, please subscribe at lataco.com.
Yeah.
And let me just say this. We have a final segment coming up, but I want to acknowledge what you just did, because I'm in the process of trying to redefine what does it mean to be a man for myself. And one of those things that it does mean is for me to ask for help when I need help.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult.
Yeah.
It's easier when I can ask for help for someone else.
Yeah.
Like you just said, it just came naturally. Hey, you want to help me? Well, then help the organization. Go from 6,000 to 10,000.
Yeah.
And so part of our journey as people, because I don't believe in individualism. I believe in collectivism and mirroring each other. And so I guess my question would be, what do you need help with, you personally, since you just share what the company needs, but what do you need personally?
Time for myself. And the way to get time for myself is to get members so we can hire support staff so I can get more time off, so I can go to the gym and actually have some healthy habits. I get home like 11:30 at night. I wake up at like 10:30 and go right back at it. So I'm on this cycle of just waking up and working. So I'd love to just have extra support so I could have some extra hours in the day so I can exercise and like take care of myself. So people are always like, "Man, take care of yourself." I'm like, "Sign up and be a member."
Yeah. All right, so we have to do something together because I get living in capitalism. There's a what is and what should be, and we live in a time where there's financial realities to everything. And your profession is journalism, and like I've been hammering in this convo, we need you longer. So we have to maybe offline come up with goals, and I'm committing myself to this. If we get to 8,000, then maybe you and the other journalists take a day off, right? Get to 9,000, maybe take a week off.
Yeah.
And when we get to 10,000, then you take a sabbatical.
I don't know about that long, man. You don't go on vacation when you're in the 8th round of a 12-round fight.
Yeah, for sure. But all those people that did that, they aren't with us.
Yeah, but
because imagine this. Imagine you being an 88-year-old Memo Torres still fighting the fight.
Oh, fuck. I hope I make it to 88, dude.
And that's my point.
I'd be happy if I did.
That's my point. So we're going to come together and figure that out. So this is the final part of the podcast.
Okay.
It's called the Sacred Five. And I ask you 5 questions. Respond back in a word or sentence. And they're basically just practical things that listeners, viewers can take home with them.
Okay.
So the first question is, name 3 things that make you feel safe, connected, and whole.
3 things that make me feel safe, connected, and whole. Family, community, and food.
Okay. What's one song, book, or prayer that brings you back home to yourself?
Song, book, or prayer that brings me back to myself. Tristes Recuerdos by Antonio Aguilar.
That's a good one. What's one daily ritual or practice that grounds you?
Ooh, a daily ritual or practice that grounds me. Daily ritual or practice that grounds me. That's a great one. I don't know, man. I think the work, honestly, the daily ritual is wake up, start tracking ice raids, start reporting, turn the lights, go back home, go to sleep. Yeah, that's been my daily ritual. Yeah. Maybe a weekly ritual would be billiards on the weekends. Yeah.
I was telling you that Jared Thayer from National Compadres Network was here, and he would have told me if I said that, Mike, that's a routine, not a ritual.
Yeah, maybe I don't have a ritual.
We'll figure it out together.
Yeah.
What's one small action that listeners can take on their own healing journey?
Man, I'm not the person to be giving that advice, dude. What small action that people can take on their healing journey?
Or what's one small step that you want to take or start to take on your own healing journey?
Time to, I don't know, how do you say, like, not meditate, but just to, just take time to just go over your thoughts, without any distractions, just to sit there and just go over the week, go over the day, just go through it in your head and just discuss it and clear it out.
Beautiful. Last one. Share a one-line blessing or quote that inspires you.
One-line blessing or quote that inspires me? Shit. I have so many. I read this one time. This one book changed my life. It's called The 4 Agreements.
Miguel Ruiz.
Yeah, great book. And there was so many takeaways that changed my life. But there's at this point, and then they've all applied. The 4 agreements, each agreement is applied at a different point in my life. And right now, the one that's applying the most is, see if I don't mess it up, but it's basically like, always do your best, but remember that your best is different every day, right? Your best today might be worse than yesterday, but, don't knock yourself for it. Just do your best. So some days you might be tired, you might be beaten up, and if the best you could do is nowhere compared to your best when you're at your best, still just try to do your best. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, Memo, thank you for being a part of this conversation. I always end with trying to reflect back a couple things that takeaways for myself personally, and hopefully for those that are tuning in. Usually I say 3 things usually. But what I really want to do is just focus on one thing. And that one thing is you. Truly, truly, truly you. I've been trying to push this the whole conversation, just that when you really love someone, you just try to mirror back their own brilliance and their own blessings and their own sacredness. And so I want to reflect back to you that my biggest prayer, my biggest wish, 10,000 members for sure. But outside the 10,000 members, is that you know how loved you are. You're loved so much that when you break down, a part of me, part of us breaks down. And I genuinely, sincerely tell you this, that I want you to be 88. I want you to be 99. I want you to be older. And you're carrying a lot of weight. And I honor that. I honor that strength, because that is strength. I also honor the strength of you being able to say, I love you to your dad. I honor the strength of you being able to be emotionally present for your children. And I honor the journey that we're both on to be able to be that with those that love us the most. Because in being able to release in a healthy way, it's giving permission to our children and others to do the same, so that we can live our ashe and we can live our purpose. And I really just hearing your own life story, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. The quote that you said, you're doing the best every single day. And for that, I'm grateful. We're grateful. And so you are a blessing. I just really want you to know that. I really want you to know that I don't know you like that, but I want you to know that I'm a work in progress like both of us, but there's a lot of rituals that I know that will help both of us, because we really need you. And I'm really grateful, sincerely, sincerely grateful, because your routine every morning, not that many people could do that in the second largest city, the largest county in the country. But you know who can do that? Memo fucking Torres can do that.
Hey, man, it's a tribute to my family upbringing, teaching me to always work hard.
Yeah.
Getting up at 5:30 in the morning to go fucking mow lawns for like 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
But I'm here when we're here. And I'll just end this episode by just saying immense amount of gratitude, immense amount of thankfulness. And I hope you leave not knowing, bro, because I don't think we're there yet, but feeling. I want you to feel, bro, that you're loved and that you're sacred, because maybe that'll open up the door of a possibility. Maybe one day I'll invite you and you'll come, and then we'll go drink after, but you'll come. But I just want to say thank you. On behalf of LA, Raza, everybody, just thank you for your love, your heart, your journalism, your truth telling, everything. And when we're 88, we can have this conversation again.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sacred Lessons is a production of iHeart's My Cultura podcast network, Sacred Lessons Media, and the Prince Group. For more of your favorite shows, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.